YouTube, what's going on, man? It's me, it's Deuce. We are here again with another show for you guys, and we're about to talk some Pistons, man. We got some pretty spicy things to talk about tonight. I will say, Deuce.
Yeah, I would say spicy is the word. A lot of information coming in today that we received from a few sources that we have developed over the years. Very credible sources and never steered us wrong before. And we kind of got some very breaking news. So we're kind of going to get into that. We want to say that what we're going to divulge, we have been given full clearance to do so on many occasions. We asked the question many different ways if it was okay to do so, just to make sure that the discretion was there, and our sources obliged and said it was okay. So also, we're not going to give every single detail. We're just going to give the information that we provided that gets the message across that this is what's going on. And that's pretty much it. We're going to give you guys as much as we can. We're not beat writers. We don't work for the team, anything like that. We're just two personalities who love our team and who've developed relationships. So, but we do want to give you guys as much as we can at the same time as well. So, with that said, King, I can let you kind of start if you want to kind of just jump right into it. I know everybody's probably waiting.
All right, so doing two credible sources, right? Troy Weaver, um, Troy Weaver is heading out the door for the Detroit Pistons. That's the big news. We have some big changes coming, of course, with Langdon. Um, apparently I'm a Troy Weaver fan. And I really don't want to see it happen. I would rather see him try to work with Langdon, but I guess the conversation just didn't materialize the way that we thought it could possibly. So, with that said, it's looking like the Pistons are going to move forward and go on that search and look for a new GM. He's going to bring in somebody that he wants. It's looking like he's going to resurface and reface his team the way that he wants it done. So, with that said, I can do nothing but respect that. You walk in the door as the president of basketball operations. This is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see you come in, make the decisions, and build a team and put your stamp on this team.
Right. Right. At the end of the day, that's all we want. At the end of the day, we want a winning franchise, right? By any means necessary, especially now we've had to endure the last few decades. So to kind of piggyback on what King said, the fact that Troy is being let go and the fact that this decision has already been in place for some time now. It just hasn't been officially made yet.
Yeah.
The time is being taken to announce it. And Troy is hurt because he really does love Detroit. He has family ties here to the city. He really feels he wasn't allowed to make many decisions on his own, which is something that we've kind of talked about forever, right? We've kind of we've seen this smoke for a while now, and now we see it turning into fire as it's coming out. But he wasn't allowed to fully be the GM of this team. And when things failed, when things didn't go the way that they wanted them to go, he would receive the brunt of the blame for it, and he would be the punching bag often for it. And we were also told that it's a dirty business, but Troy also knows that it comes with the territory. And the good thing is that people around the NBA know who he really is and know what he's capable of and knows what he can bring to the table. The things that we've talked about as far as him not having the flexibility to make the decisions is not just limited to us. It's very well known around the league that is the case. And so for it to be coming out now, I think is good for him just from a transparency standpoint, right? And it appears that Tom wanted Troy to stay, but Arn and Langdon wanted to demote Troy, and Troy was not having that. So that's what led them to this decision. And so Arn Tellem, we've talked about Arn Tellem plenty of times in the past. He has some ownership, and so he has a lot of pull. And the sad part is that Tom and Troy are actually still cool, and Tom is still trying to somewhat look out for Troy on his way out. But he didn't intervene when it came to Arn Tellem and others wanting to fire Troy, and that's the disappointing part. And something to keep an eye on too, King, and not even just King, but this already, but everybody else something to keep an eye on. is Arn Tellum's son,
Mhm.
Eric Tellum. Right, Eric Tellum. He's currently the Pistons senior director of player personnel. So that may be somebody to keep an eye on as far as who may be eventually moving up into the front office.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yeah.
It's a
um,
lot. It's a lot.
a lot. It's a lot. And like I said, it's not made official yet, but um, it's just that's just tough to hear. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I want a GM that wants to be here, that wants to build a team for the city, that wants
Hmm.
to be able to be in command of what he's doing. That's what you want out of your GM, right? We've been, like you said, we've been voicing it for a while that, that's just not the way it's been. He's been
Yeah.
overpowered and overstepped, obviously, with, partial ownership with the Tellums, and you got the Stefanskis of the world, and,
Yeah.
they have their prints all over a lot of the things that the Pistons done over the year.
Hmm.
Who do we bring in is the question. Like you say, you look at Eric Tellum, but if we go from the outside, who do we bring in is the major question for me right now.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the major question for me too, bro. And that's kind of the disappointing part, I think, more than anything. Like, if they have I want to make this clear too. I was a fan of Troy Weaver. I'm still a fan of Troy Weaver, and I think you are too, King.
mhm.
I'm not upset that Trajan Langdon is here,
No,
right? I'm not mad at him for being in the position he's in. He's got to take that money, right? You being offered that, he's probably waited for this opportunity. He's got it. I'm happy for him. It's just unfortunate for me that when Troy first got here, yeah, the record may have been better than it was last season, but our outlook for the future, our flexibility, our cap space, our draft assets were non-existent. The Van Gundy era really put us in a bad spot,
yeah,
right? With that Blake Griffin contract and everything else that came with that. So when Troy got here, it was a huge mess he had to clean up, right? And yeah, and just to finish, it was a huge mess he had to clean up. And I feel as if, looking back on it in retrospect, it feels as if he was brought in just to clean up that mess.
like I said, you hit the nail. Like I said, with the way that Stan Van Gundy left things here, Troy comes in. Um, First of all, frees us from that black hole we were heading towards,
Right, right,
and builds everything, all the assets that we have right now in order, to try to build a team and move forward. Right, we have these assets right now, and we have the proper assets to add to this team and get things going real quickly.
yeah,
He's been savoring things, right? Um, Not taking on desperation contracts and everything else. So he's waiting for that right moment. You know,
right, right,
Obviously hiccups in the road with his decisions, but we're in a pretty decent spot right now to hit the go button,
right.
which I'm definitely not complaining about right now as a Pistons fan, because
Mm-hmm.
it would have been more if we had to clean up a mess that he left.
Yeah, exactly,
So yeah,
exactly. And that's
so
you hit it, bro. That's exactly what I was gonna get to, and I'm glad you said that because once again, I'm not upset at Trajan. I'm glad he has an opportunity with a good situation. Right? It's recognized when he gets here that the team had the worst record. So the level of expectation for him is not high. But on the flip side, he also has these assets that were given to him by the same person, And so it's just unfortunate for me that Troy did all the work to put us in position to have these assets to move forward, even though we had a bad record the last few seasons. He still put us in a good spot. And now he's not given the opportunity to reap the benefits, the fruits of his labor of what he put together for us to have these assets to go forward. Now it's like, thanks for doing this and cleaning up this mess. Now you can go on. That's the disappointing part for me, is that he's not getting an opportunity to actually use the assets that he created. He was just asked to clean up the mess, and then, well, he was, in a sense, the Mark Jackson before Steve Kerr. He was the Rick Carlisle before Larry Brown. Get this team where it needs to be. Create a good situation so that the next person can come in and take credit for it. And it's so messed up because he was also getting the blame for things on the flip side when he wasn't making those decisions. So he's getting the blame for things he's not doing, and he's not getting any credit for what he built for us to go forward. It just feels like he's just getting screwed, bro. It feels to me like he just got screwed all around, and that's the only part about it that really just kind of bothered me about the whole situation.
here's the actual wrench. the wrench that we always talk about that's been thrown in there, right? You're Troy Weaver, and you look over the last 2 seasons. These 2 seasons were seasons where we were supposed to see player development with the young players that we have, right?
Right.
And you'll look at it and say, "Hey, man, we've been in a lottery though for these years." That's how you get the assets.
Yeah.
So that's part of the assets that you probably getting ready to spend in this draft, to be honest.
Yep.
But you
Yep.
acquire those picks, you know what I'm saying? And then when it's time, because he never said that, he said we were going to be competitive, right? Which he planned on doing before the wrench came. What was the wrench? Forrest brings Williams. He brings Monty
Yeah.
Williams in, and it just killed everything. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So
Yeah.
instead of bringing in the young coach to bring along with the young players and go step by step like Troy was doing,
Mm-hmm.
you throw the wrench in there and try to put a hurry on the process.
Yep.
You can't do that as ownership. You cannot do that. You cannot make the mistakes because
100%.
you wanted the young players to play together this season and develop. This was never going to be a winning season. Let's just get
Yeah.
that out of our heads. It was
Yeah.
never to be that. This was the year for them to play. So now you have the assets to hit the button and say, boom, let's
Mm-hmm.
get some of these players that's going to take us. It's playoff time now. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Let's get these players in here that's going to get us some wins. We're going to get to these playoffs and really, really compete.
Yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't
So,
have to use that.
right.
You know,
Right. So something tells, what we've been hearing is that there's already interest in Troy. If there is if he is officially, let go, there's already been phone calls around the league already. So something tells me that he's gonna land on his feet with another organization. I'll be rooting for him. I'm rooting for Trajan as well, right? I want to see Trajan do well because what does that mean? If he's doing well, then that means the team's doing well, and that's
yeah.
all we really want at the end of the day. So now pivoting, what does this mean for Monty Williams? I've seen a lot of questions about that in the chat about what does this mean for Monty Williams. And to be honest with you, bro, I'm surprised. And I'm only surprised due to the information that we have received up to this point regarding Monty Williams, right? We know, well, I'll just say this. This could be possibly an indication that Monty may be staying because I originally thought when that article came out regarding him, regarding the Pistons being willing to fire him, right, to move off of him, that his job would be more so in jeopardy than Troy's job because his name was nowhere to be found in that article. And a lot of times when you have a new president come in or something of that nature, when you have an overhaul, you'll see that president come in and make make his print on the organization, put a stamp on the organization, clean house, start over, bring his guys in. It would have been really plausible to just include Troy Weaver in with Monty. We talked about this last week. It would have made sense to include him with Monty Williams as far as the firing, and then say that it would just make sense. But for them to not mention Troy and only mention Monty gave me the indication that maybe they were actually going to move off Monty and keep Troy. But as we see and as we've been told, that is not the case. So what this means for Monty, I don't know. I don't know what this means for Monty. I don't know if this means his job is safe. I don't know if this means that they're just going to play it out after this season and see how this next season goes. Are they going to wait? I don't know what they're waiting for. I don't know what. So once again, like last time, I'm coming back to that press conference. Everything for me comes back to this press conference, right? And hopefully we get that in the next week. 2 tops. I would imagine next week we get something. We know they're just kind of getting their ducks in a row as of right now before they make any official announcements, which we understand. And that's why we're saying this is not official, but this is from a source that is credible. We gotta wait and see. What does your gut tell you, King, personally, when it comes to Monty? Do you think his job is safe? Do you think it's not safe? But what are you feeling?
I think his job is safe.
Okay.
So yeah, you hear the hoopla about hey, we'll eat the contract and everything else, and I think due to this right here, I think Monty's job is done. Get the man out the door that didn't want me here. You know what I'm saying? That's conspiracy. I'm just talking crap.
I know what you're saying though.
Yeah. I think he's staying, man. Hopefully, I just want him to want to be here and to want to coach this team
Right.
and to take this team to the next level. If you're not there mentally, you need to be transparent with this franchise. I understand, the money and everything else, but do us all a solid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And move on if you don't really want to be here. As a head coach, and as you look at the point where this team is right now, especially you look at the situation with Cade Cunningham. I
Yeah.
just want a coach that wants us.
Right.
So who will we see brung in here? Obviously, Langdon got some work to do, right? Ownership has some work to do.
Yeah.
Can we see some old Pistons faces come around? Can we see
Hope so.
some
Hope so.
veteran? I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? So, like I say, let's just give it a chance to materialize, I guess. See where
Yes.
this goes. I'm gonna give it a
Yes.
shot.
Yes.
Even though we're tired of giving shots, we're gonna give it a shot. Man and us saying, like, man, can we just get on with it, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
man. Man.
it's been a long time, right? You know, you look at the last time we were really competing, really competing in the playoffs. It's been forever,
Yeah,
especially the Pistons. The NBA is better when the Pistons are good, man.
bro.
And want to get there.
2019, was it 19 or 18? I think it was 19. Last time we were in the playoffs. Then 2016. Before that was 2009. Those are the last three times you've been in the playoffs. You've been swept every single time. And those are the highlights. Those are the highlights for us when it comes to the playoffs. Is competing in games, not winning them, not winning them, competing in them. So it's time for a change. It's time for a change. I don't care how it happens. I don't care why. I do care when. The win it needs to be now. It needs to be right now. And so I hope that this results in us changing our trajectory. I honestly don't think that Troy Weaver was the problem. I don't think Troy was the problem at all. I think he was part of the problem, like everybody else was part of the problem, but he wasn't the cause of the problem. I think that warranted him being fired when you look at all the moving parts that go into what happened this season. So, but I guess somebody's got to be the fall guy, right? So hopefully, like I said, he lands on his feet. Wish the best for him. And moving forward, I wish the best for Trajan and whoever the new GM is going to be. And I hope to goodness that Trajan has more flexibility than Troy Weaver was given. Otherwise, what in the world are we doing? I think he will be because he has ties to Arntellum. But then again, Troy Weaver also had ties to Arntellum.
It's kind of
So
hard to find somebody around the league that's
that doesn't.
got ties that aren't,
You're right. That's true.
an agent.
That's true. That's
But
true.
at the end of the day, it's like, man, I just want to see Langdon have a shot. You know what I'm saying? Don't
Yeah,
bring him
absolutely.
to be a yes man and you still doing your bid behind closed doors.
Yeah,
Let
yeah.
him generally do what he does as the president of basketball operations.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see what happens, man. Like I said, we talked about, last week we talked about his experience. Well, obviously, this is still building his I'll say resume, right?
Yep.
Um, let's give it a shot and see what happens.
I hope so, man. I'm pulling for him. He really seems to be very organized about what he does. Somebody who really just goes about his business, does his work, very professional, right? Um, very habitual. I like qualities like that when it comes to somebody who's going to be in that seat.
Mhm.
Somebody who's not very emotional when it comes to decisions. Another important thing. But he just seems very organized, right? I've looked at a few of his interviews and he's with the Pelicans and things of that nature. He wasn't actually part of the Zion Williamson um, drafting. He was hired a few days after that. For a few who was wondering about that, but he was very active with a lot of the decision making. So I do have confidence that he can come here and at least kind of right the ship if he's given the opportunity to. Once again, it all comes down to it doesn't matter how good you are at your job. If you're not allowed to do it, what does it matter?
Yeah.
So we don't know to what extent Troy was allowed to or not to do his job. We just know that he wasn't allowed to the way he was supposed to. So please allow Trajan to have more flexibility to do his job. And if that's all I ask for, whoever it is, if it was Trajan, if it was someone else, it doesn't matter. Allow them to do the job that they're hired to do and get out of the way.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all I ask for.
Yeah. Yeah. Franchises, they work better when you allow them to do what they're supposed to do. That's
Right?
just so I go. I'm not gonna sit here and act like Troy Weaver. We know this man he's a brilliant mind. He
Yeah,
is,
absolutely. Absolutely.
and like I said, hopefully wherever he goes, hopefully he has some success.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so man,
Yeah,
we
man.
we gotta kind of flip the coin a little bit though, Deuce.
Okay. Okay.
We got some playoff basketball to go over real quick.
We do. We do. We have about 10 minutes before tip off. So
Yeah,
let's go
right.
ahead and be real efficient with this. Go ahead. Do your thing. Holla at me. Holla at me.
So I've been screaming this for the last couple of weeks. The Minnesota Timberwolves go as Cat goes. When Cat's soft, when he's chucking up shots, he's bricking everything, it's tough for them to win. But
Right.
they are very, very hard to beat when Cat is playing like himself and you have Anthony Edwards.
Right.
So with this Dallas Mavericks team, Luka took the hit on himself, said he could have played better and everything. We know that's just not the case. That's just not the case. That's not why they lost that game.
That's not why they lost the game.
Yeah, not at all. I love this matchup. I just wish I could push it to 7.
7. I know. I was saying the same thing.
I love this matchup. This
know.
series is just as exciting as the last series, man. It feels like the finals. It really
does.
The finals.
It's cool to seeing the changes though between matchups, right? Because last round you saw how just from a defensive standpoint, you see the difference between Jamal Murray and then Kyrie, or Jamal Murray and Luka Doncic. Like you look at Jaden McDaniels, right, for the Minnesota Timberwolves, who is one of the best defenders perimeter in the league, period, right? But you see how he gives Jamal Murray such a hard time because off of the pick and roll, if Jamal Murray, it's harder for him to put Jaden McDaniels in jail because Jamal Murray isn't as big. So when he's getting funneled to the bigs, right, to Cat and to Gobert, you still have to worry about McDaniels over the top, coming over top, blocking his shot, deflecting the ball on the alley-oop pass or whatever you're looking to do for Jokic, or the drop to Jokic. But with a guy like Luka Doncic, he likes physicality and he's 6'8". So once he gets you on his hip, it's over.
And heavy.
Yeah, and he's heavy. He leans on you like Jokic does. So once he gets you on his hip, it's over. You can't recover. You can't get. He's not bothered by length. He's bothered by strength. Jaden McDaniels he's long, but he's wiry. That's why Lou Dort had more success against Luka last series. He's bigger and stronger. He's not long, but he's bigger and tougher and stronger. So it's just cool seeing the differences between series. You know what I mean? You see how Denver struggled with their defense. Dallas not so much because of their personnel and what they like to run. So it's like you said, the matchups, it's like a prize fight. The matchups make the fight. And this is so fun to watch and see how they play out.
It's just such a, man, like I said, you can just see the imprint of Jason Kidd all over that team, man.
Everywhere.
And you look at it, if I was the coach of Minnesota, I'd probably go with that starting lineup change of taking Gobert and putting him on the bench. Bro, I don't know what he does. You know what I'm saying? I've seen so many opportunities. If he could just move, the problem with Gobert is he has stone feet. He can't move his feet defensively.
And hands.
Yeah. And I've seen so many opportunities for him to get blocked shots, and he just couldn't move his feet quick enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Gets in trouble a lot. But, the game is just different when Nas Reed is in the game. And if we going out swinging, I'm power playing and I'm playing Nas Reed next to Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, like I said, you got Gafford to deal with. Yeah. I feel like Karl Anthony Towns does a better job with Gafford than Gobert does. But when Gafford gets to dunking and alley-ooping and blocking shots, I feel like Cat tuck his legs.
Okay.
That's why I say, hey, put Nas Reed in. Let him do the job defensively, man, because I don't know what Gobert is doing besides speaking French, just like Draymond said.
We. No. You.
Yeah, right. He's the one getting, dominated. And like I said, it's a power play.
It is, man. It is. I still have this going 6, or if I'll take it. I said 5 or 6. I said 5 or 6. I think I originally said 5, but out of respect for Minnesota, I think I may have changed it to 6. So 5 or 6, I have it going. I don't see it going past next game though. I
Yeah.
think next game is the end. I don't think Dallas allows to go back to Minnesota for game. I don't see that. And Derek Lively is the key for me. When Derek Lively got hurt and Dwight Powell had to eat those minutes, you saw the difference right away. The offense looked completely different. It looked completely different. No pick and roll. You had guys trying to do stuff out of position. You had Derek Jones Jr. trying to dribble to the basket. Just the offense just looked out of sorts when he wasn't in the game because Dwight Powell is not the athlete that Derek Lively is. He's not the roller. Doesn't have the foot speed. Doesn't have the hands. Doesn't have the finishing ability of Derek Lively, who's a rookie. This guy's a rookie, man. So because when he was in there, he couldn't do much. You saw right away the offense just looked terrible. But so I think Jason Kidd realized this isn't going to work. He can't absorb all of Lively's minutes. He's just not good enough right now. So they had to alter their lineup completely with Maxi Kleber and all these different guys. So the offense just looked totally different because one rookie wasn't playing. It just shows how effective and important he is. If he plays tonight, the series is over.
Yeah.
Even on the road, he makes so much of a difference for them. If he doesn't play tonight, I think they lose. And then if it goes back to Dallas for Game 6, I think he definitely plays because they're not going to mess around with Game 7.
No, you definitely don't want to do that. And so let's skip a little bit past this series, right?
Okay.
Let's skip a little ahead, right? Had a conversation with my brother, man. Shout out to Big A out there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And he's more on the Celtics side of things. If Dallas gets past Minnesota, he's more on the Celtics side of
really,
right? Which I thought was in myself, right?
Okay.
I was interested to know, where are you? Is this the finals right now in this series between Minnesota and Dallas? Is it just flat out no way possible Boston can pull out a victory?
I said it before. I'm gonna say it again. Jason Tatum will not win a championship as the guy. And that's no shade to him. I've just seen this story too many times, the same way I've seen this story too many times with the Clippers. They play great in the regular season, they start off great in the playoffs, and then they just, because they're wildly inconsistent and because their two best players game overlap each other too much, it's going to be my turn, your turn. Whether it's PG and Kawhi or whether it's Jason Tatum and JB, their games overlap each other too much, and they're way too reliant on that three-point shot. When they're hot, they're better than anybody. When they're cold, they're worse than everybody. And that inconsistency is not going to work for me in the finals. It's just not. The way that Dallas plays, they know who they are. They know what they do. They do it the same way every game.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference. And having a guy in Kyrie and Jay Kidd who have already been there and won, right? Plays it. This Dallas team reminds me a lot of that Dallas team that beat Miami.
Yeah.
They just seem to have figured things out.
Right.
It seems like from a matchup standpoint. And they play to their advantage and they know how to take yours away.
Right.
I'm seeing a lot of the things they did to LeBron, they're trying to do at AE. I don't know if you noticed that or not. When LeBron played them in the finals in Miami in 2010 and 2011.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of the same schemes to get the ball out of his hands and to prevent him from getting to the basket. So Jay Kidd is taking some of those things that Rick Carlisle did against LeBron, and he's doing them against Anthony Edwards.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the experience of the game, man. That's just, like I said, I'm also all Mavericks. If they win the series, it's all Mavericks. It's just championship Mavericks, right? Because like I said, one of my biggest problems with Boston is not just Jason Tatum not stepping up to the challenge, year after year. I never really liked them in the paint either. You know what I'm saying? I've never really felt like they went and got the right guys in the paint in order to push them ahead.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? In a final type situation. I'm looking at how nasty Dallas is in that paint. On top of Luka and Kyrie, the effort that you get from Diggs, bro, is going to kill Boston.
Yeah.
And like I said, just looking at them, just team for team, man, and look at the way the roster's built, is no way,
man. And I'm telling you, man, like Boston is a very, very talented team. Yeah. I just love the way Dallas has put together. I mean, I'm looking at the role, like PJ Washington. Who would have thought after what he did to Stu earlier this year when he was playing for Charlotte, when he took him out the air, that he'd be in the finals, about to go to the finals and be contributing. You know what I mean? Who would have thought that? We remember that game. I think it was game 2 or 3 this season. Charlotte Hornets. Stu went to the basket. You know, the game was over. He went to the basket and he took him out the air. He took Stu out the air, right? Flagrant foul, all that. I never would have thought he'd be on a contending team right now. Nah, not at all. Speak easy, my dog was good, Brody. So yeah, like, and you look at guys like Derrick Jones, who's known just for being a dunk contest champion. He's contributing. You got guys like Jaden Hardy off the bench. You know what I mean? Taking Anthony Edwards to the rack and barking at him. You know what I mean? Like, you got guys off the bench contributing now too. So they seem to be hitting their stride at the right time. That's what we always look for. It's a lot about when you're hitting your stride, when you're peaking. Right. I feel like Boston and LA, teams like that, they peak at the wrong time. They peak way too early. And then when they get to the playoffs and teams have to figure you out because now it's a chess match and you're so reliant on your three ball, the talent kind of gets in your own way. And you're not really a consistent team like a Dallas is. So I don't think Boston, I won't say they don't have a chance, but I don't have confidence in them, even though they've been there before. They haven't won. Yeah. They don't know what it takes yet to win. I still don't know if when the series is up for grabs, like we talked about when they play Golden State, I still don't know if that killer instinct is developed to know when the series is hanging in the balance for both teams. Do you know when that moment is to go and take it? Because that moment was there for Tatum and Brown when they played Golden State. It was game 4 when they were up 2-1 and they were up 10 points in the third quarter. That was the moment. That was the series. They zoomed in on Steph Curry when Boston had just hit a 3 to go up double digits. They zoomed in on Steph Curry because the previous game he was smirking. Remember, he was all smirking and smiling on the bench. Not this game. This game he was like this. You could see he was itching to get back in because he knew this was the moment.
Right.
If we don't stop this momentum right now, they're going to win the series right now. They're going to go 3-1. They're going to win the series. He knew. Tatum and Brown didn't seem to know that. And it was right there for them, and they let it go. And that's when Golden State took it over. So I don't know if Boston has figured that out yet. I don't know if that killer instinct has developed for them to know from the past experience. I got to see it. I know that Kyrie has it. I know Luka has it. I know J. Kidd got it. Right. So I'm not worried about them on that stage because the finals is a different animal.
Right, man. I just, like I say, man, I can't agree more. You know what I'm saying? Then, like I say, you put Kyrie in a situation where he can beat Boston with those fans over there.
Yes, good point.
He's gonna go
the narrative, bro. Yeah,
Tony him. So
yeah.
That to me is a wrap. Well, it's a wrap. Every one of these two teams come out the West is a wrap anyway to me.
Yes. Same.
You know, shout out to everybody. We got some guys in here. We got my man Easy in here. Nomas, you know, Owen, Mark.
Always showing love.
Yes, man. Y'all, you guys showing love. You know, it's 8:30.
We about to go watch this game, y'all.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Anything else you want to hit on before you get out of here, Ken?
No, that's pretty much it. Just wanted to keep it short and sweet and put the news out there. And hey, let's watch this game.
We'll see what happens going forward with this news we got, y'all. We will keep y'all posted with whatever it is we get that we can share, and y'all be the first to know as soon as we know. So appreciate y'all showing up and showing out as always. And King, Detroit versus everybody, man. You know what it is.
Man, Detroit versus everybody, man. Peace.
Get y'all next time.